Is this thing working? Are we live? It looks like we are live. What's happening, everybody? Hope everybody's having a fantastic whatever day you're watching this. I have had a ton of fun today hanging out at the dealership. If you guys were there and we had a chance to chat, stoked to meet you. And man, kind of happy to be part of your two-wheeled journey. So, guys, thank y'all so much. Um, yeah. So for this chat, it's going to be a bit of a targeted chat, mainly because of the latest Kawasaki 636 recalls. And for those of you guys that are not in the know, the Kawasaki 636 variants have already gone through a recall procedure, and that has been deemed to be not good enough. In other words, the procedure for some bikes didn't quite fix the issue. So, what exactly is going on? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about what the latest is with that recall notice. I will be putting together a standalone video to talk about this. It'll post up sometime tomorrow. But in short, this is what we are up to, which is the letter. Now, a lot of you guys won't have the letter yet. This is me going on to Kawasaki's website to find out if my vehicle identification number was going to be part of the actual second round of recalls. And of course it is, because it's one of the bikes that was affected in one way, shape, or form by this factory defect. So what gives? Well, we're going to talk about, all the bikes that are going to be affected, which is all the 636s, and the remedy: do not ride your 24 through 26 Ninja ZX6R-6R KRT edition, etc. ad nauseum. Let's see. Until an authorized repair has been completed. This includes vehicles already repaired under recall campaign MC25-08. Now, if you remember, MC25-08 was the recall that was supposed to take care of this issue initially. The bearing failure is something that is exceedingly rare. You've got guys with thousands upon thousands of miles on these bikes with nary an issue and no complaints whatsoever. However, it ain't the house that ain't on fire that you send the fire trucks to, right? So in this case, there have been issues, and I'm guessing, and I put out a video on this earlier, that there were some failures that were after the repair sequence for the recall, and the speculation was that those bikes were damaged just by the fact that they were ridden at all before the fix came in. Now, I'm not sure what all bikes this is going to actually affect, and I don't know what the fix is just yet, although I do have a sneaking hunch. So what exactly would that look like? Well, the thing is that when the first series of repairs came through, there was 2 pair of bolts underneath the engine that were removed and then replaced with new bolts, new washers, and assembly lube, and they were torqued to a factory specification in a factory specified sequence. Now, the question that I have is, why did you only do the 4? So the guess that I have on this is that they're going to say, no, you've got to pull all 8, which is 8 bolts that are holding this case together. And it's my understanding, I think it's 8, 2, 4, at least the 8 center bolts, 2, 4, 6, whatever it is. Basically, repair all the bolts, man. I mean, just take them all out and retorque them and do what you got to do. The thing is, and if I was looking at the bike the right way, this should be able to be done with the bike just on the stand, and there shouldn't be any real issue with this. The cases don't even have to get split. All you got to do is just remove some bolts, replace them, remove some bolts, replace them, rinse and repeat until complete. So, but that's the hope anyway, that's what we're up against with this recall. I don't think that any of the bikes that are on the road currently that have gone through the protocol of the recall, especially, let me preface that. The bikes that were new, never sold, before this recall took place, I have a feeling those bikes are fine. It's going to be the bikes that have basically been ridden for any real length of time before the fix was done to their bike. Even though they passed a visual inspection, there could have been damage done to that bearing, and that bearing could be just stung too much, and then you keep riding the bike and then you still get a failure. That's what the hope is, right? That's what the hope is. The concern, and this is, I can't see this really being the case. But the concern is that there could be some level of core shift or offset within the case itself, which is causing these bearings to preload and then to wear out prematurely. I don't really know that that would be the case. I really don't think that it would. You wouldn't have these bikes putting down the power numbers that they are, and you wouldn't have these bikes, getting beat on the street and on track, living past really their break-in period before you would have all kinds of problems. And that would be if the cases weren't exactly machined to match up with themselves properly. So I get that there's a concern, but the reality is that I'm really not overly concerned with this. I'm not worried about my bike. And believe me when I tell you, if any one of these bikes were going to fail, it would have been mine already. So with saying all that, let me check in with you guys. Looks like Sam is the only one in. We've got 4 that are out there. Just Sam is the one in the comments. And if y'all have comments on this, if y'all have any input, you got one of these 636s, let me know. But in saying that, guys, not super crazy concerned about this in general. I don't think that we've got too much to worry about. But again, the letters are going out, so it's going to be a thing here pretty soon. Again, it is a do not ride situation. And so we'll just have to see where all of that ends up playing out. I'm pretty sure that this is going to be resolved here pretty soon. I'm at least optimistic that it will. So in saying that, who all we got in here? Sam, you still in? How does the feed look? Are we coming through loud and clear, or are we having another jacked up feed and I'm just over here talking to some ceiling tiles? Because that could very well be the case. Let's see, internet connection. Looks like internet's good. Think we are good there. Let's see. Sam saying everything looks good. Nice. Might just be a shy night. I'm going to pull that recall notice up so we can talk about this a little bit. All right, here we go. Share screen. There we go. So in essence, that's what it looks like. That's what your recall notice looks like. And this is just going on to the Kawasaki website, typing in my VIN, and allowing it to work its magic, pull up whatever it is that I've got going on with my bike if there's a specific problem. So here we go. You can see where my bike had the bearing seizure recall already resolved. And then that was MC25-08. Now we got MC25-11, which is incorporating the same motorcycles as the 08 did, but it's now including 26. That 2026 year. And so there you go. Description tells you what bikes we're talking about, which is all the 636s. And then the remedy: do not ride your 24 through 26 Kawasaki. And it says risk: a defect which relates to motor vehicle safety exists in certain 2024, 2026 ZX6R. It doesn't say all of them. It just says certain. Okay. That's one spot where you'll have to pick up on. There's be some legalese in here, I'm sure. These motorcycles can lose engine power unexpectedly due to seizure of the number 5 metal metal crankshaft bushing. That's your bearing. And Kawasaki has reason to believe that a prior repair on your vehicle may not have properly addressed this issue. Doesn't mean it didn't. It just means it may not have addressed the issue. An engine stall increases the risk of a crash. Then the recall information. This is the part where it's like, what happens after this? As soon as parts become available, Kawasaki will mail you a new letter, because this isn't mailed. This is just on their website. They're going to mail you a new letter, because this is the letter you'll get first, in early December, so you can contact an authorized Kawasaki motorcycle dealership to schedule an appointment to complete the repairs. And then contact information. So that's it. Not a whole lot to go off of on this, but certainly enough to get some attention, right? So as it sits, this is where we are. And, we're just going to have to get it sorted out. Sam saying, I think all these bottom end problems that the OEM, either Power Sport and Auto, is due to thin oil. I don't know. We're using 1040 for these bikes. So I don't know if it's that. I think the original issue, my understanding, was over torqued bolts. But the reality is that I think and like I said before, I don't think it's, first of all, I know it's not all of these bikes. But I think that there is a concern that some of them that were sold and then ridden after, they're sold and then ridden before, I should say, the recall notification was sent out. That's what the deal was with that. So it was just the bikes that were ridden for any real length of time and then had the repair. Bearing was already cooked, but just wasn't failed yet. So Sam saying GM thrust bearing. Yeah, it's on the 6.2 if I'm not mistaken. So, but with that, guys, I just wanted to bring you guys this information. Bit of a short show this evening. I am going to get back to I'm going to get back to work, but post up your comments. Let me know what you think. Again, I'm going to put up a separate video on this topic tomorrow. But with that, guys, get out there and do something cool for somebody. Chances are they need it way more than you know. And with that, I'm going to wrap it up. Y'all take it easy.